Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Pursuit. Today we are on episode 3, so thank you all for joining us. This show is about diving into the creative process and the intersection of faith, tech, and work. So this show is about talking to people in the industry, in different industries, picking their brain and learning about their journey. So if you're interested in this kind of content, please stay tuned for more. And in today's episode, I have my friend Josh Pham. Josh, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, pleasure.
I asked Josh to be on the show because I found his story really interesting. He's kind of at this intersection of creativity, both in the regular artistic form like photography and visual art, but also in more technical and in a slightly different way. Like creativity can be applied in his technology background, and so I found the things that he's working on is really interesting, including machine learning, working with big data sets, and the things that he's doing at Spotify, and also several of his projects that he's working on for himself in the areas of personal knowledge management, which that term was just, I was like, oh, that's new for me. Definitely want to hear more about it. And then, of course, we're also brothers in Christ. So Josh recently moved to the city, and he's looking for churches and community, while at the same time pursuing the things that he is working on, both for Spotify and for himself and his own projects. So he's got a lot going on, and I wanted to hear more about all these different projects you're working on. So yeah, that's where this conversation is kind of going to be centered around creativity, around this personal knowledge management that you are working on, and machine learning and AI, because I know that's also a big part of what you're interested in and what you work on. So Josh, I just want to have the audience hear a little bit from you. Like, can you give us a little bit about your background in your own words?
Yeah, personal knowledge management is like a big fancy word for just like how you manage your thoughts. And this could be like you're taking notes on pen and paper right now. I think that the crazy thing about personal knowledge management is that for me, it has been a journey of not sticking to just one tool. The reason why it has this fancy word is because it's tool until you find that like the one that kind of sits, or one that combines a lot of elements of a lot of different things. So it's like really understanding knowledge management, the personal knowledge management, the area is more about like finding what works well for myself to be able to capture information and like process it, as opposed to it being like, oh, it's this technology and that technology. Yeah, I think that tends to be how I think about building software in general. I like thinking about software that I personally like to use. So there's like when I'm building it, there's like a technical aspect which involves understanding how to build it from kind of bottom to the top. There's also understanding like if I'm a user, how would I use it, and there's a lot of empathy involved in understanding. Not just I'm building a technical solution, but like thinking about the problem like, hey, as a user, what do I need in the moment of engaging with this app or this tool or this product or this UI? Or maybe it's a piece of content. I work on recommendations. So maybe it's how as a user do I think about a need for music? And then that ends up crafting, I think, how I think about the product and like building it from the ground up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was kind of specifically geared around what you're doing at Spotify right now. Is that, but also the other projects that you're working on personally too, like building this curated user experience? Would you say that's like kind of mainly the forefront of what you're doing?
I think it's where a lot of that interest comes from.
Okay.
I think I like spending time in the space of understanding the user, and then having technology serve to back up sort of my exploration of the user need. I think the interesting thing about personal knowledge management, just to go back to that, is that people already have ways that they like to process information, like taking notes on pen and paper. They like to work with Apple Notes. I was talking to somebody who's like, entire workflows up for reminders, and it got me inspired. So I think there's like a lot of ways to kind of skin the cat, so to speak. And I think this interest is like more around people have people existing workflows around how they discover content, how they engage with content, how they put things down, how they look for things. And technology, building a new product isn't always the answer to having a better experience. So I think my sort of one of my MOs is understanding the user need better, taking a few steps back, understanding how to ask the right question in order to build something that fits in well with what people are already doing, but also makes them think about it in a way that they haven't already.
Can you take us back to where this, like how you got so interested in this sort of, management of information and like what, is there like a genesis to it? Can you take us back a little bit to what got you so interested in the first place?
Yeah, I've always, so the thing is, I've always journaled a lot.
Okay.
And I have like reams on reams of handwritten journals. And I did it as a way to kind of get things down, to kind of recollect where I currently am. And problem is, sometimes when you write something, you externalize it. It kind of sits there, and people say, like, do you ever go back on it? And
Oh yeah,
it's like,
a lot of times I write something, but taking notes in church or something, and
yeah,
it's funny, I take it, but then I don't necessarily go back to it, or I forget about it.
yeah,
So, but I always want to, like, I take it with the intention of wanting to reference it.
yeah. And so I think it's those moments of taking it down. Sometimes you realize that there's something to the connection that you feel with, like, oh my goodness, I just came across this idea while I was writing it down. I didn't expect to come across that idea when I was writing it, but now that it's down there, I'm like, that feels like this was worth it. And my interest kind of stems from that moment. Like, you didn't know you were going to come across that idea, but when you just happen to come across it, put it down on paper, that's once it becomes something you want to remember. And that came from your own processing of your own experiences. So my search for personal knowledge management has to do with like trying to find a better way to not only put those ideas down, but to revisit and know what those are. And so this applies to personal knowledge management, applies to journaling, but now it has evolved. I've worked with many different personal knowledge management tools, and sometimes it feels like, what shiny object syndrome is?
Like when you get something, like you want something new.
Yeah, it's like
new lures you.
Like you're in photography, right? Like it's like, oh, there's this new lens has like a incredible kind of sharpness, or there's a new film that has this optical quality, and you're like, I want to see what it's like to capture the world in that lens or in that frame of reference.
Yes.
And it's like, that's shiny object syndrome, where you want to see how you process the world differently within a new tool.
Oh, and that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and I think that also applies to personal knowledge management, where the way that these tools get sold is that you oftentimes it's like the tool promises to make you more productive. It promises to help you be more organized, and like in reality, sometimes all you need is a to-do list.
Yep.
And all these shiny objects are just different shiny to-do lists.
Yeah.
And kind of my exploration behind that is like, can this be different?
Yeah.
Like if it was not trying to offer a new shiny to-do list, but it's making something other than a to-do list, or maybe it's like asking the question in a different way.
Yeah.
Where would that get you? So this kind of comes from the journaling, but it kind of has gone towards trying to understand the world better.
Yeah.
And that understanding the world better is not just personal knowledge management, but it's also like other creative pursuits.
Yeah. When you're talking about that shiny object syndrome, specifically towards photography, remind me, we have this thing called GAS. You get GAS.
Gear acquisition syndrome.
Yeah. Which very
guilty about that. Yeah.
Very guilty of.
Same.
But actually, what you were talking about just now, like these tools. I'm curious. Can you give us an example of like what some of these tools are? Because the first thing that comes to mind for me, like you mentioned, to-do list. in order to organize your thoughts? Like what tools do people use? For me, I use things that are kind of, I guess, called mainstream. Like I started with Evernote. That's like one of the classics, and then there's Todoist, and then now I use Notion.
Yes.
And
yeah.
is that so? Are these the kind of tools that you're kind of talking about? But companies like Spotify use probably some different version of it, or like they use the principles behind it in a different way.
I think you're asking an interesting question here, which is that there's a lot of tools out there that are built for workflows that operate well within companies. And the question I would ask is like, are these workflows that work well within companies also what work well for like the individual people? And so if you take a look at Evernote, does it feel like something that like I could use to keep track of my own thoughts? If I look at Notion, is it as good for the company as it is for like my own personal knowledge management? And like other features it's offering like a good fit for that? Sometimes the answer is like, yes, it works. Sometimes the answer is yes, and it like also has way much more than I would ever need, and it's maybe more. So Notion I'm familiar with. I think Notion sits in the realm of personal knowledge management tools that I've considered in the past. But I use something called Obsidian. I've been using it for about a year and a half.
Oh, I've never heard of this one.
Yeah, it's like what is it? It's like a very fancy, rich text editor.
Okay.
But you write your notes in something called Markdown. It's a special but very simple syntax for taking down notes. And at the core, what sits behind Obsidian is just text files.
Okay.
So it is not like any fancy software at all. It's just a fancy notepad that displays syntax in an interesting way, allows you to bold things, highlight things, create headers, and insert images in a rich way. But it's just, it's very lightweight.
Gotcha.
So I use that because it's simple, but also I like to tinker, and Obsidian like rewards people who like to tinker.
Oh, okay.
So I've been enjoying doing that.
Oh,
yeah.
Kind of reminds me of the sort of the Android versus iPhone analogy, where I personally use Android, and it's because you can customize it more. You can like tinker with it, as you say.
Yeah.
Get apps and mess around with it. Whereas with Apple and iPhone, it's like this closed ecosystem that you can't really break into and modify, right?
Yeah, I mean maybe that's right. I think that Apple has a lot of polish around its product ecosystem, which makes it come off like this is something that can't be tinkered with or fixed.
Yeah.
Have you heard of iOS shortcuts? Like when you share something in like a photo or something like that, you like look at the share sheet, there's like a number of options. So those shortcuts can be things that you program yourself.
Oh.
So I think Apple started catering to the people who like to tinker with stuff. Speaking of handwritten notes, shameless plug, I wrote a little shortcut that takes your handwritten notes, sends it to Anthropic, gets the image transcribed. So all of your handwritten missing handwriting gets transcribed as actual notes.
Oh wow, that sounds very useful.
So the shortcut, I share it, and what the sharing does is like a very, very fancy copy text.
Okay.
So when I hit it, it just copies the text from the image, and then I start. It's like fancy optical character recognition or OCR.
Okay.
Copy that and paste it into Obsidian.
Wow.
So
there was a lot of technical terms I didn't.
So basically,
I get the concept.
The concept is like you have a notebook that you've written things on, and the issue is, man, I don't want to have to spend time to like rewrite this.
Right. Yeah. Obsidian.
This is just a fancy like handwritten note to Obsidian.
So you can just take a picture of it then.
Take a picture of it.
And then, wow, that takes taking notes, like handwriting it to a different level.
Yeah.
Because like, I was sitting at church yesterday, and my friend next to me was taking it all on iPad. Like she's writing it in real time, but it doesn't have that same, like I know that's existed for a long time, but it doesn't have that same tactile feeling as pen and paper, and people who want to stick with that don't have that like easy translation to digital. But it sounds like you.
No. And again, this is like the layer of tools and shiny object syndrome, where like what really matters is it the information, is it how you capture it, is it like what it feels like? And so this allows me to like just not answer any of that. It's like I like taking things down with pencil and paper. That should be all that matters. And now I have another tool that can like take a picture of whatever I captured and send it to whatever format that I wanted.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. Now, can you take us into? So I'm still curious about your sort of day to day role, and I want to give the audience a better, clear idea of like what you do professionally,
Yeah.
and speak to that role, and then I'll have further questions about that. But if you
Yeah.
can just give us like sort of a high level overview of what
Yeah.
your role is at Spotify, what your day to day looks like some of the actual things you do there.
Yeah, so I can give a quick blurb on what I do day to day at Spotify. I'm a machine learning engineer there. I work on music recommendations. I've been doing that for going like about 6 years now. And so what that means day to day is I'm building products in the space of music recommendations. So the teams I've been on have worked on a number of different features that you might be, like Spotify users might be familiar with. The organization that I sit in works on the algorithmic playlists and features around, or features exploring like generative AI for music recommendations.
Okay.
So
AI is now being used in music curation. Is
a little bit, yeah. So I mean, I'll give you a little backstory behind that. Is Spotify kind of got its start in personalized playlists as like easy way for people to create their own playlists.
Okay. Yeah.
We also have experts internal to Spotify who know certain music domains really well, and their specialty, their job is to curate these playlists.
Yeah.
Think of them like as an editor for like a niche in like a newspaper publication, but instead of a newspaper column, it's like a genre, an area of music.
Yeah.
And they're just like trying to stay on top of the latest and most interesting music out there.
They know all the best artists.
Super cool jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like something that, like, to the point of AI, that's hard to like, and that's we shouldn't even try to take that over with AI.
Yeah.
Because I think that's
like
something.
The conversation.
The way that we discover music, the way that we know music to be relevant to culture, is like such a human touch, and that's something that I enjoy doing, that people enjoy doing. So I work with a lot of people who are passionate about music. Editors, I think, some of the most passionate people about music.
Gotcha.
Like, I guess backstory on like Spotify as a product, had a lot of these personalized, or had a lot of these editorially curated playlists. So these editors would come in, put together these playlists, and then like listeners would subscribe, follow these playlists to discover new music. Over time, these pools get huge, and so where AI comes in is if you're looking at the same playlist that has been editorially curated, there's a lot of tracks. You might not have time to listen to them all in there. So there's smart ways to like sequence the tracks in there so that we can give our best guess at what you are trying to listen to in the moment from that pool of editorially curated tracks.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So where generative AI kind of falls into this is like, yeah, we have this human taste. We also have all this technology built up around how we understand taste, how we understand music, how we really understand what people have skipped, liked, added playlists, saved, all these signals.
Yeah.
Right. It's a very, very rich data set, and people express their personalized opinions about what kind of music they want.
Gotcha.
So they've done their own curating.
Okay.
So question to ask is, out of that, how do we think about new products, new features that involve generative AI? Like, how can we use generative AI to help people curate better, more meaningfully, how to come across more music to discover that they really like?
Yeah.
And so a couple of the features there are, I work in this organization that does AI DJ, which is this kind of like lean back, we call it lean back, like listening experience, where people can come across music that they maybe haven't listened to in a while, and they have this Spotify AI voice personality, which kind of suggests new segments for them to like listen to.
Oh, okay.
So cool. I work with them. I help build something called AI playlists.
Yeah.
Which is a way to conversationally curate a playlist using generative AI.
Okay.
And it launched a few weeks ago, maybe a month now.
Awesome.
In the US. We've been developing it for about a year and a half or so.
Okay.
And it's something I'm pretty excited about because internally I've been using it a lot. The team that works on it has also been using it a lot.
Yeah.
And so our sense of the craft behind assisted playlist creation has kind of informed the design of this feature.
Right.
And I think that makes us all really excited for it to be out in the world.
Awesome. Congratulations on that launch.
Yeah, thanks.
Could you expand a little bit more on like, so maybe like the day-to-day stuff that you do, like
Yeah.
what does it entail?
So machine learning involves like building models, and it involves building pipelines, understanding data, and working with different people who understand the product really well and business really well to figure out where the place of the product is. So a lot of what I do is building models and running evaluations on models.
Okay.
Like this is generative AI, so a lot of these models are language models that understand like how give a user a query or a prompt or sequence of prompts or whatever. Like how do we interpret that as like a user request?
Gotcha.
And then how do we like build that, serve that, train that, and then let it run at scale, serve like hundreds of millions of users.
Wow. So there's a lot of technical knowledge to that.
Yeah. So I got this interesting. I love doing this, which is like just being at the center of thinking critically about how users use the product, and also thinking about like new technology out there that people are really excited about and like want to build like infrastructure for. Like how do we make this a product that scales well because we know that users want it, and then like how does that infrastructure end up serving like a lot of people, and like how do we know it's good? Answering all these questions in a technical way, having a system for continuously monitoring it so that we don't have to respond to every negative tweet that we see about the product or whatever. Like, oh, the system's down. What do we do? Like, a lot of that is like thinking about how to build a healthy system.
Oh,
yeah,
awesome. Very interesting. So that's kind of like what you do professionally at Spotify. And then I know you're working on some of your own projects. One of them is called Enzyme. Is this kind of like a new thing that you just launched recently as well?
I did, yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about that project and any of the other, like maybe one other side project you're working on? I feel like coders are always working on something, their own passion project.
Yeah,
so
we have
maybe you could tell us a little bit
right?
about your passion projects.
Yeah, I mean, the fun thing about like coding is that it's a craft, and I think of it as a craft, and so I can do it during the day, but then there's also like other problems that I'm passionate about on the side because I'm a software user, and I like software, like thinking about software. So like there's all these things I want to try and build and explore. And so Enzyme is a plugin for Obsidian, which we talked about earlier. I built it as kind of a slot in for my own workflow in Obsidian to help synthesize thoughts. It's an AI tool to synthesize notes and writings in my own personal vault, as well as things that I've clipped, highlighted from articles, books, podcasts, and things like that. Like the idea is not to build everything. Like I don't have to build the thing that goes in highlights. I don't have to build the thing that helps me write something down. But once it is in a place, that place being Obsidian, how do I build a plugin that kind of slots in there and makes use of all of this information so that I can like help it with my workflow?
Okay. So a synthesizer for all your thoughts and like the random stuff that you.
Yeah, oftentimes it is very random.
Right.
And so kind of what my exploration was with that is it is a personal tool I built for myself, but I've also, being in Obsidian, there's a community of people who install plugins just to try things out. So I kept it on the DL, so I haven't like publicized it as much as I would have liked to, but just because there's only so much capacity for me to work on it. So if I publicize it, there's like more. I have to end up answering questions.
Right.
Like
people expect you to keep maintaining
it. Yeah. So I published it, shared it, had a lot of people take a look at it, and I think that like gave me a community of people who were using it. Because it now is available on this thing called the Community Plugin Store, so people can download it and try it out. I actually released it as free. I kind of went back and forth on that for a while, but I realized that my motivation was to like put it out there so people would give me feedback on it. So there's this balance of like, do I want to charge for it? How hard is it to charge for it? And sometimes people just want to try it out. Because they don't know whether it's a good fit for their workflow or not. I would feel the same way. So I put this out for free. People downloaded it, and like I've had conversations with a few of them on how they use it. Feedback's been mostly positive, but it also has helped me realize that was actually helpful. You just saved me like a lot of effort building like 4 different things where
Yeah.
I can be focusing on this one thing that both of us like feel an issue about this plugin experience now.
Gotcha.
So that's been helpful. Like over the past year, as I've been working on it, it's helped me to focus down on the stuff that I really should work on to improve it. And that's especially important because like this is one of the things out of many that I'm juggling.
Yeah.
So I feel like that feedback loop in developing a personal project is actually like really important. Like my advice would be just get it out there, have people use it, have them give you feedback, and like are the ways that they're describing it kind of like line up with the ways that they're thinking about it.
Right. Yeah. You can think of it as like you put out a sort of a beta test prototype and then polish it up, and then if you do want to launch it later and charge for it, it'll be a more complete product. So. This also gets to like the deciding when to put something out there is tough because like maybe you don't want to. I think my takeaway is like don't put it out there. Don't wait until it's perfect to put it out there. Wait until it's just good enough. Like there is a user experience that like works well. You rely on it. That means that a lot of other people in the same space might be able to rely on it too. Yeah.
And the space happens to be Obsidian users who are already very opinionated about how, and they know that this really well, even though it's very complicated and somewhat technical. They're able to understand like where it fits in. So like identifying this as a power user space, like people know roughly where they want this tool to sit, and in that space, even though it might be hard because I'm not catering to the general public. I'm not trying to build one size fits all.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to build like a massive like recommender system, which is my day job. Right.
Yeah.
This is different. This is building for power users, somebody who already has a workflow that they like. And I'm just gonna slide it. I'm not gonna like boil the ocean, so to speak. I'm just like building something small. Yeah.
I like that in your sort of day job, you're working on these higher level things, and then on your like passion project side thing, you're focused on more specific things.
Yeah.
So it's a really it's a cool approach.
Yeah, it's one way to think about it.
Yeah. I wanted to so we've talked a lot about your background, your work background, your craft, and part of this show is about weaving in faith to this aspect of our life, and so I wanted to just get a little bit of background on your faith background. Like, did you grow up in a church? Could you just tell us a little bit? You don't have to share like your testimony, like deep dive, but just like a high level, kind of quick summary of like how you came to faith and how you came to New York.
So I've been exploring Christianity and spirituality for a long time. I had grown up in a Christian family, and my dad's actually a former minister, and he still works in ministry.
PK.
Or PK. So, but I think there's a bit of engineering blood in me and in that, which was interesting. But we grew up in like our family was part of a Vietnamese ethnic immigrant church in the Bay Area. Which happens to be a very tight-knit community. And there are a number of Vietnamese churches in the Bay Area and across the U.S. that know each other. This is in the Vietnamese Christian Missionary Alliance. So I grew up sort of in a part of a church community, but that was all part of like a broader church network. And we would do retreats, we would do like annual conferences and things. I would grow up actually. I found myself like doing found myself serving a lot. So like doing a lot of things creatively. So designing things, playing music. Like if there's a sermon series that needs a flyer, if there's like there's a camp that needs a T-shirt, if various things like that, or and then also play keys for worship team. So have been doing that since like high school.
Kind of covering all the artistic avenues, I'd say.
I feel very fortunate because it being a church community that had a need for it and kind of encouraged it. Like I think that was an expression of faith for me early on that helped shape both my faith and my creative pursuits. Like a lot of like having that avenue for creative exploration is really important. And help me negotiate sort of the relationship between like doing something to express myself, or is it doing something because it's important to my faith? Is it doing something because it's performative? Like I think all those questions were things I like thought about early on, And like in parallel with this like new, like growing up, what is faith, what is spirituality? So that's a lot of my upbringing is serving the church creatively.
Okay.
And exploring what it means to be Vietnamese American and Christian.
Yeah. That's sort of, I guess, I can kind of relate to that because especially like, I grew up in a Chinese Christian church, so kind of like that culturally focused environment, I guess you could call it. And I think it gives you an early sense of like identity in some sense, like you're understanding your people group, but yeah, it just resonated with me.
Yeah,
just that kind of upbringing is similar to.
Yeah, I'm curious if you think of that line as sometimes being kind of blurry. There's a cultural element to your faith that's kind of blurry with like the spiritual part and like what is faith.
Yeah.
And like what if you're an artist, they're kind of like doing things in both spheres, right? They might not be the same, they might be separate, but you're still doing stuff in like the cultural space and the spiritual, and like your art is a representation of like of that experience.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I actually wasn't even that artsy. I discovered art like kind of later on. Like this whole like photography, videography thing didn't come until much later in life for me. So maybe for me, growing up, I wasn't really as aware or keen on those kind of like differences, or like didn't have that kind of struggle. But I will say, I guess, like growing up in a Chinese Christian church in Orlando, Florida, of all places, it was like that was the only sense of community I had. So how it affected me growing up, or like how it influenced me growing up, it's kind of hard to say. I mean, I also went to a public high school and public middle school, so definitely it wasn't like completely just I was just hanging out with like this one group of people. But yeah, I would say it was definitely a unique experience for sure. Yeah, I don't know if you feel the same way.
Yeah, I think my experience of Vietnamese churches is that it's like a very Vietnamese people aren't everywhere, so like Vietnamese people kind of stick with their own, and they kind of like we value our own community a lot. And, yeah. So it's very like an experience that is like kind of bolstered by the Vietnamese identity. That shapes the spirituality.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So over time, like once you got into college, did you think it was a more formative time in your faith? Like, do you have a sort of moment where you were a little bit more clear with like where you're at with God and your walk with Him?
Yeah, I think one of the questions I entered college exploring was this idea of like how much does ethnic identity matter to my faith? Like how much does it inform the way that I connect with other faith communities that are not just Vietnamese American? And part of that is like this line is there actually a line of distinction between like let's say like a multi-ethnic or white evangelical church and a Vietnamese church? Because when I grew up, it felt like the two were like dimensional, like they're different spheres. And I was like, do I want to be a part of this? Is this different? Like what is that? And is there something that should be able to connect me with like another, like a Filipino church? I don't know. Like I had a lot of friends who were Filipinos in high school. Like is that like is there something to that experience that like is the right way to experience faith or spirituality? Is there something about the narrative that like informs faith in a very in the right way? Like how much should we be celebrating diversity in the church as absolute, right? Or is it just something that's relative to experience? So I think that line of questioning maybe like ask a lot about ethnic identity in relation to faith. That like shaped a lot of my early on college experience with faith. I think kind of moved towards like, okay, well, I've kind of explored that for a bit. Beyond Vietnamese church experience, what does faith look like? What questions are people asking? And I think a lot of this was had to do with like me graduating and starting work and all of this stuff. And there's I think social media, pandemic, COVID, all that have to do a lot with how I understand the dynamics of people within an ethnic church seeing faith as like something that's meaningful for them.
Gotcha.
And also part of this was like me moving away from. I went to school in Texas, grew up in California, and I was in Boston for a while. Like I was not a part of like a Vietnamese church for quite a bit of time. So it was like me kind of like taking a step away from Vietnamese church and trying to understand like from a distance, like what does it mean to care for one's own ethnically versus like what does it mean to have a faith experience that is diverse and like really like really cares about like the whole body of Christ.
Yeah. So I kind of want to weave in now that we've heard a little bit about your like faith background, faith story. I kind of want to weave in like how does being a Christian affect your like everyday at work? Like, how do you and like does it come out in like what you value, how you like interact with people, like what role does faith have in like your workplace?
The very clear call, the one that's sometimes like hard to do and remind yourself day to day is to like love your neighbor as yourself, right? Like a lot of what we're called to do as Christians is to like love our neighbor, to be very relational. A lot of what I do day to day, a lot of what I like am fascinated by with technology is like building things, building systems, understanding things at scale.
Yeah.
And sometimes the two can kind of be at odds. Like you're working, there's this part of work that is relating to other people, and there's this part of work that is relating to an audience of millions.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So like the people that you work with, and the people that you're like building these systems for, there's like this feedback that you're getting back from 100 million people. There's this feedback, and there's this like day to day of like working well with other colleagues. And I think part of my experience and understanding of stewardship is like, how do I steward both of those opportunities?
Yeah.
And then what are the things I can do? What are the things I can do that like ground me and kind of allow me to feel that I'm working kind of out of an overflow, and like there's a sense of abundance in like, oh, I care for my coworkers, or I care for what it is that I'm working on.
Yeah.
And some of that is like has to be built through resilience, right? Like I can't just say, I think that shaped my I think my faith has shaped my work in that I think there's a sense of ownership that I feel over working well with colleagues and working craft of the product I'm working on.
Yeah.
That is not like so and so told me to do this, so and so told me to do that. I think I feel a lot of sense of ownership and like how does this fit in with my values?
Yeah.
I think is a harder question to answer, but it has led to I think like a more resilient attitude towards work.
Yeah.
And I think there's also a sense of stability that has come through that. Like I feel less of I have worked on this for enough time, I need to move on to something else. It's more like the question I answer a lot is like, does this feel right?
Yeah.
Like am I like in the right environment to be working on something that I care about the most? And I'll ask that over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And like, do I care about what I'm building a lot? And
I love that. Like, I think, God calls us to excellence, right? And I think you're really living that out, like through your craft. You're caring about the quality. You're caring about like you said, how the millions of your users will, interact with it and how they feel about it. And I think it's awesome that you think about that, like to have that kind of mindset, like, oh, how will millions of people like interact with this? To care about the quality of it that much.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Where do you where do you see yourself in like 5 to 10 years? Like, where is this journey, this pursuit, taking you? Where do you see it going?
Yeah, I think we touched on this a lot already, which is this idea of craft and software. I think moving to New York, I feel like I've become more in touch with this question, which is like, how do we think about craft and software from perspective of building a good product, from like organizational, from things like organizational, like how big, what are the dynamics, what are the culture, and that's kind of led me to like, it's like, oh, there are possibilities here which aren't just like advance in one company, kind of up the ranks and like oversee a larger organization, but like also like thinking about the question of craft more broadly. Like how do you care for craft in like multiple different aspects of career, and like what isn't being nurtured is like an aspect. Like, so if I feel like I'm spending a lot of time thinking about this one problem, but I'm not actually getting to do much of it, like then so there's part of the craft that I care about which is not being nurtured.
Gotcha.
So like that kind of helps, that's how I think about like reevaluating. I actually don't know where I'm going to be in 5 or 10 years.
That's fine too,
I just think I want to continue to work on things that people find meaningful and like help them reevaluate how they're using tools.
Yeah.
Speaking to like the creative potential of people, I want to build things that nurture that, and what are the things that I'm building, how is people's creativity being nurtured by their exploration of that tool.
Yeah.
And so I think that question forces me to evaluate the question of craft kind of very critically.
Yeah.
Like how much of myself am I getting to spend thinking about the craft that I really care about, so that I can build things to that end.
Yeah.
How much of this is sustainable? How much is it helping me reach that end? Yeah.
Speaking of craft, do you it's whenever you're working on something, it's whatever industry we may be in, it's always helpful to like take a step away and like distract yourself or do something else to take your mind off of it, and then come back to it with like a fresh perspective. And one way to hone your craft is to keep going at it and banging at it, but another way is to like get inspiration from other realms, other areas. What for you would be some of those like inspirations? What do you step back to do? I know photography is one big thing.
So I really love the outdoors, which is hilarious because I live in New York City now. And I don't have a car anymore. I like let go of my mountain bike. Like there's a lot that I haven't I don't have anymore that is super nearby. But I like getting outside. I like backpacking. I like mountain biking. I like photography. So I've done travel landscape photography in the past a lot, and really being out there and kind of just like there's also something just about like planning a trip and then but you don't know, where you're gonna be, what the route's gonna be, but you don't know what it's gonna be like day to day.
Yeah.
Like you've never been there before. You're just like, I just need to walk one foot after the other for like 10 miles this way.
Yeah.
And like that mountain is gonna be where I'm going up. Great. I like have enough water, hopefully. And I think there's something to the effect of, okay, in our day-to-day, we're planning, we say that we're planning for things that are going to happen like 2 years down the line, 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line. But honestly, like in our day-to-day walk, how much that feels like we're actually inspired by putting one foot after the other. And I think being outside helps me, like, it's very humbling. Makes me reminded that like actually slowing down a bit and taking one step after the other is like teaches you a lot.
Yeah.
So
I like that. And it's like a nice contrast from our like digital world. Like you're immersed in data spreadsheets and digital the computer.
It is an instinct, right? Like, leading up to a trip you're planning every like element, and sometimes you're like, I need to stop. I can't plan everything out because I don't want this thing to be like orchestrated from start to finish. I need to create some space. So this is like kind of outside the realm of technology. Like this is something I'm trying to experience. How do I create space for the experience I want to have? So being outdoors and travel, I really love.
Awesome. Josh, I just have one more question for you, and this one's for the audience. and we've talked at length about your career background, your work background, your faith background. A lot of great insights so far, and I just want to get one more thing from you. Like, what advice would you have for someone who is kind of pursuing something similar to you, like who are working in tech, software engineering? Because I know that is your like forte. So, can you speak to those who are interested in it? What advice would you have for them trying to get into the industry or working in it? I know you gave something earlier that was really insightful about like iterating on your app and just putting it out there and getting feedback. Do you have some other nugget of advice?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really big question.
Yeah.
I think I've been reflecting on how software development has been changing rapidly
Okay.
the last couple of years. AI has been changing a lot of how it looks like to be trained in software engineering.
Yeah. Please weave in what you've learned.
Yeah, I think I think I can talk about the implications in that like it's becoming like more accessible to explore creating software and like everything from modeling and machine learning to like just getting started with software engineering. Like if you have the time and you have the intent to explore or to build something, it has become like more accessible than ever to learn.
Yeah.
And I guess I won't speak to like how much is software engineering going to be like something that's sustainable as a career. I won't speak to that, but I feel like if there's a curiosity there that you think, oh, something should exist, then I think like the barrier is like sort of more accessible than ever, or I guess like the ability is like more accessible than ever to try.
Yeah.
And I would say like it's easier than ever to try and to just kind of get something off the ground. And I would say my advice would be to build for something that you really want to exist and talk about it with people.
Yeah.
Because the best feedback loop is when you can talk to people about a problem that you have and try to understand it's a problem other people have. I think there's this creative spirit of like trying to understand like I know I want to exist. I don't know if I have the skills to make it. That is not just something that engineers ask. It's something that artists ask.
Yeah.
Right. Like this representation of reality, this representation of experience should exist. It should be a bed of communication for how people connect.
Yeah.
Like how do I validate that?
Yeah.
And I think it's that is very promising. I think that as it speaks to craft and democratization, I think that's something that I'm very passionate about. I want to see more of.
Yeah.
And who knows where this is gonna go, where these like where AI is going to take us. But I think it makes a lot of this exploration possible.
Nice.
Excited for that.
That was beautifully said. And I like what you said. I like that part you said about like thinking of a problem that people have and like solving it, for them in a creative way or in a unique way. Like, that's a really good way to think about it.
Yeah.
Josh, thank you so much for sitting with us today. It was an awesome conversation, and thank you for giving us your insights about machine learning, about AI, about personal knowledge management, and craftsmanship and pursuing your craft. I just want to say thank you for your time. I want to give you a chance if you want to share with the audience where people could follow you or follow your work or the projects that you're working on, maybe a website or something to link.
All the shameless plugs.
Please.
Also, that was a great conversation. Thanks for hosting it and having me on. I do really appreciate a chance to speak to these areas that have been important to me. Yeah, I'm on Twitter as J4ism, so it's like aphorism with a J. Aphorism is like a short pithy saying, but with a J. My website's jfam.space, and I've been building this Enzyme, which is you can find it at enzyme.garden. You should try it Obsidian if you haven't. It's a great.
I'm going to give it a try.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And try AI playlists. It's fun. I love discovering music through it.
Shout out Spotify AI playlist.
All the plugs.
For sure.
No shortage.
So thanks again, Josh. Thank you to the audience, for the viewers, for watching this episode of The Pursuit. My name is Garland Queck. I'm your host. Thank you for joining us. And if you like this kind of content and hearing stories about people pursuing their passions and the intersection of their faith and work. Please like and subscribe and stay tuned for more. So thank you, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Great, man.
Thank you.
Pleasure, man.
Bro.
That was great.
We're great. We're great.